Wow, what an unbelievably fun night we've got in store for everybody. I am Adam Ross, the Florida Tennis Podcast host, and I don't even know if I need to say who that is. I mean, if you know anything about tennis, if you know Florida tennis, that is Dave the Kozlowski, Florida tennis legend. Koz, thanks for being here. I feel so lucky. How you doing, Koz?
Couldn't feel of it. I couldn't find a better way to spend Sunday nights. Here we are. This is an all-nighter, I understand.
Koz, you are so fascinating. You've done everything, you know everyone. So indulge me, because I'm going to take us through a little bit of Koz lore. There's so much to cover. Now I have a theme for tonight, Koz.
All right.
The theme is love. Your love of your family and their love for you, your love of all things tennis, playing, teaching, promoting the game, and the tennis world's love for you. And finally, Koz, I'm going to steal your great saying about the love of the game. In tennis, scoring, love means nothing, but love of the game means everything. Keep alive your love of the game. Now, Koz, forgive me.
Even better. Let's keep alive our love of the game together.
Even better, Koz. Thank you. That is awesome. Now, Koz, this is the most difficult part of the show for you because you're humble. And it's tough because I got to go through your background. So bear with me, okay? Try not to be too uncomfortable, but you are obviously a prominent figure in the tennis world, known for your work as a teaching professional, a commentator, a host, one of the first 17 Master USPTA, now it's RSPA professionals. You've been
recognized. You know what? I could have been one of the first 8 or 9. I was too backed up. I couldn't get paperwork in. Darn. But I'll take one of the first 17.
Guys, I love that. I could have been one. That's awesome. You've been recognized with awards like the USTA Broadcaster of the Year and the USPTA Pro of the Year. You're the creator of Inside Tennis with the Koz. So I guess I'm going to start here, Koz, if you don't mind. What does it take, or what does it mean exactly to be a Master USPTA professional? That sounds pretty intense.
Well, it's very honorable to put some time in, and you've got to be in there for X amount of time. Everything is checked out. That's why it took long to get all the paperwork in. It's your contribution back to the game. And that they kept it very consistent. You have to have a skill level to be able to hit the ball X amount of times, to find the target. So you're graded on that. You're also graded on your time put into the community and your time put into the association, serving in different capacities. So it's love of the game and its dedication to your input of the game.
And your tennis knowledge as well, Koz, I would presume, correct?
Yeah. Well, why be in the game if you're not going to know the game?
I get
one of the goals that every organization wants to have, the little Mo, and we'll talk about them.
Yes.
Later, is the emphasis on knowing players that are in your game. You cannot say, I don't know who Martina Navratilova is if you're 9 years old. You can't do it because the kids in baseball and basketball and football, they all have their gum cards and they know those legends from the past. So we want to have the same respect for our legends.
Well, it's amazing that you're one of the first 17 Master USPTA, now RSPA professionals. So let's a little bit about broadcasting. You host and produced Inside Tennis with the Koz. It's been on the Sunshine Network, Fox Sports, Tennis Channel, and on SNN News. I found it interesting that it was one of the original series on the Tennis Channel. And I also noted that Gene Scott, I believe, the legendary Hall of Famer, sent you to cover the Fed Cup in Russia. I know I just covered a lot of ground, but take us through all that, being one of the first series on Tennis Channel, dealing with Gene Scott going to Russia. That's a lot of ground, Kaz, but see if you can take us there.
Well, let's start from the first 10 minutes of the existence of the Tennis Channel. And it was early on. I was one of the friends of the owner. So at the U.S. Open, many times they would announce on the intercom, Tennis Channel representative Dave Kozlowski beat us at gate number 3. And that's how early we got in. And there wasn't anybody else with them. So I was lucky there. And I'm going to prove how life is consistent of being lucky, being fortunate. And what's the last thing?
It's all about the love of the game, Kaz. That's what I got.
Appreciative. There we go. So it was fun being involved with them. And we were on 8 years. We were on many times, 15 times a month, because they needed airtime at 3:30 a.m. in the mornings.
Love it.
It was very fulfilling, and it was good for the self-esteem. Once in a while, you got to say, "Well, I guess we're okay." So I've been very fortunate. Bob Gray, and you have met him once or twice, has helped launch this. In fact, how did I get the name The Cause? Our original show was Florida Tennis. Then it went to Inside Florida Tennis. Then we came up with Inside Tennis with Dave, no. With Kozlowski, no. With Koz, maybe. Bob says, with The Cause. Inside Tennis with The Cause. And I'd have to pay big bucks from an ad company to come up with that one, but he put it on the table.
I love the backstory, Kaz. The Kaz. I love the backstory. You've had some incredible commentary on tennis, interviews with tennis legends. The first broadcaster to interview Hall of Famers Maria Sharapova and Andy Roddick. Again, one of the 7 American journalists selected by the USPTA to cover the 2003 Fed Cup in Moscow. Can you talk a little bit about covering the Fed Cup in Moscow? What that was like?
Well, Gene called me and
said,
Gene
Scott.
Gene Scott, that is, yes. And what a gentleman he was. You know his background at Yale for varsity sports. He also played during that season Davis Cup.
Sure.
And he had the reputation of being 30 years younger, 30 years, older than his opponent, but he knew how to win. Why? He had a grass background. So Gene was such a contributor to the game that total respect. And to lose him at the time that we did was a major setback. One of the most touching that I've done, and Bob Gray, we're in Louisiana. We find out Gene has passed, and he said, "Do you want to put something together?" And I said, "When?" He said, "Right now." So 5 minutes later, we came up. Well, I wrote the script on that. Gene, damn it, we expected you to give us another 3 decades of your love and your contribution. Sure. What a wonderful individual. Nobody could ever look at the same level. You had to look up at his level. And he got the most out of all of us.
Good stuff, Kaz. And I'm trying to remember the name of his magazine. Was it Tennis?
Tennis Week.
Tennis Week. Okay.
Tennis Week. But it came out twice a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any memories of Moscow?
Yeah. We were in there, and we're on regular budgets, and they wanted doing more things. And I'm getting a little nervous. What happens when we check out? And Alan Schwartz. I've been very lucky in life, as I mentioned before, and blessed that Merv Heller and I will talk about, we played college tennis together. I was the best man at his wedding. And what does he do? He becomes president of the USTA. So Heller opened up a lot of gates. And he was over in Moscow. And he said, don't worry about it. Alan Schwartz, who followed Merv Heller, said, Gene brought you in. Gene will take care of it. And we were able to get a good night's sleep knowing we're not going to have to be working for a while. But it was great fun. It was great being there. Bud Collins was there, Billie Jean King.
Wow.
And just being in where the Olympics was in Moscow was worth something itself. And
Sure.
It's amazing. There was still an older mentality of no can do here, no can shoot here, no can walk here. But it was great because of what that tennis meant to elevate, that they took it to where the Olympics were played, and it was the United States and 3 other teams.
And that was 2003, Kaz.
Yes, I believe that's true. Yes.
Now,
yes.
Kaz, you mentioned college tennis is kind of a good segue to get into that time machine. I remember your wife saying that you had started playing tennis, I think, at 14, fell in love with the game. So can you take us through how Kaz falls in love with the game, a little bit of your tennis background, if you don't mind?
Not at all. By today's standard, you don't make it if you don't start before 14. I started at 14, but Stan Smith didn't start until he was 16.
There you go, Kaz.
That made me feel better. I was very fortunate. There are a couple of sports that I personally feel bring out the athleticism in a athlete. Just keeps improving, and it's basketball because there's a dribbling ball and there's a lot of side shuffle steps. What kind of steps do we have in tennis? Rhythmic side shuffle steps.
Sure.
Everything is soft hands, strong legs. Everything is with that rhythm to the game. And tennis is more than a sport or a game. It's an art. And that's what we want to keep the game as. And it's not being bigoted on, we're above everyone else in sports. We're not. But there's so much tradition that we need to hold on to it. And you mentioned love. The Look of Love was a song by Dusty Springfield. Oh, gosh, she could wail it out there. The Look of Love.
Sure.
There's a look that you have to love about tennis. It's smooth. And that's when you go back. You had Federer and Chris Everett and Sampras, as smooth as you could be. But the game is built on smoothness, restricted, unnecessary energy going in. So it's in its own spotlight. It's rhythmic. It's a game, but it's also an art. And there's a love for this part of athletics.
No, it's great. Great stuff, Kaz. And you ultimately become I want to say a pro at, was it Laurel Oak Country Club?
I've been around, and that doesn't mean I wasn't doing good jobs. It's a funny thing. In some industries, the only way you can promote is you can't get it where you are. That you're at the highest. So a better situation comes up. You look at it, and it's interesting to live in the various districts and sections of the tennis country. So Laurel Oak was a big stop. It was very, very enjoyable because soon after I arrived, I was the director of tennis. We picked up you ready, touring pro.
I think I know who that is, Kaz, and I think you got a picture of her right behind you.
I bet that you do. And she is as genuine as anyone you'll ever find alive.
Amazing.
My youngest daughter was 14. That's Carolyn, Virginia. Good tennis player, a Division I, top 20 in the juniors. And she sees Monica, and she's a little 14-year-old. She starts giggling a bit. Monica giggled, and the two of them were in a state of giggling for minutes before they could actually stop and say, hi, I'm
That's
Carolyn,
great.
I'm Monica. But that was the greatest reflection of being a genuine person.
No, it's great. And Kaz, you've got, so Monica Seles is in that photo behind you.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to point to in your office there? Because I see a tennis racket up there, and you want to take us through anything?
Some old wooden ones up there.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if I can. Oh, there's one here for Pro of the Year, Florida Media Excellence Award broadcast, 2001 USPTA Special Awards issue. What was that? National Pro of the Year. Fundamentally sound tennis.
Sure.
Instructional. Let's see. This is with Jimmy Arias. Master your tennis motor memory, and we'll touch on that when we talk about IMG and Nick.
Sure.
Jimmy, a few things up there.
Great stuff, Kaz. Great stuff. And I think I want to just jump to a little bit of a different area for just a minute. It's kind of, you've done it all, okay? And I want to understand how an elite tennis professional segues into promoting tennis through broadcasting, because not only were you a great broadcaster, but you were doing it with a purpose of promoting the greatest sport in the world. So how does that come about? At what point do you grab the mic and say, besides, training 150 D1 players and Monica Seles and Carling Bassett, I want to promote the game with the microphone and writing as well, obviously?
Well, we had the Florida Twist, which was a team in World Team Tennis, Billie Jean King's program, and Larry King also. And at the halftime, they would have me do the promos and talk to people on the public address. So the general manager of that squad, the Florida Twist, said, would you like to do a live tennis TV talk show? And I stopped and I said, I haven't had any experience or any training, but by the way, everything I've done in life has never had experience or training. So yeah, I can do one more thing like that. And it was great fun. You learned as you went along. There were a number of very supportive staff members that would help you pick up some of the experience that you need. But I look forward to that every Tuesday night, and I was followed by a political show right after. So I would wait around, see what I could pick up in the politics of Sarasota. But great fun. And we kept doing that. I will talk about a special person, and I can do that right now because it could be time. Monica Seles.
Please.
Was our touring director. And they had two houses. They came to the realtor and said, we'd like to have two lots side by side and in some privacy. And he said, well, I have exactly what you would like. We have two lots that haven't sold yet next to the golf maintenance shed building. And they were humble people. Okay, we'll buy that. So they put in a sizable wall around it within the contents, 2 tennis courts, 1 clay court, 1 hard court.
Sure.
Half of a basketball court so Monica could play basketball against Martina Navratilova. The other was half of a backboard, and the third was just for a ball machine. So that's what she was doing out there. And jumping ahead a bit, her brother Zoltan was this established player. He had the skill, but not the heart. And Mr. Seles, his name was Carl Seles. His name was Carol Seles. And he was a kinesiology master.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a cartoonist. So he would have cartoons in the newspaper, would do cartoons where Monica could see someone with a little racket, a little girl, and she would say, Daddy, can we do that? That's how he got her started. So he got her into the game. I like the way he taught. He had a 2-on-1 theory. So Monica would be on the north end of the court. Her brother Zoltan was on the south end, on the east side. My son Davidson, when he was in town, Monica was in town, they would play sets. She could never, ever put the ball away. Why? There were 2 people on both sides of the ends of the court, and it was tremendous overload training. And I've passed that on to a number of people that how can you get a better workout for 3 players if each one of you is on the other side by yourself playing against 2 singles lines? So that was part of her major training.
That's fascinating, Kaz. And to get back to the to the origin, I love the fact that when you're approached to broadcast or do a show, you could have simply said, it's not in my skill set. I don't have that experience. You need to find a broadcaster. But you did not do that. I love that. And that's a game changer. That's a life changer.
What are you going to do if somebody gives you a can of fresh balls? Open it up, take the balls out, put ice in there and water, and you're set for the day. So he had a can of tennis balls that I opened up to get on the show. But
I love that, Kaz. It's a great lesson and attitude that, very often, people get into analysis paralysis or feel like they have to be perfect at something or they're not going to do it, versus just jumping in and learning as they go. And you became a consummate broadcaster and a prolific one at that. And it all started with you saying, yes, I'm going to try that, which is great. It's a great lesson for everyone, frankly. So that's a great lesson, Kaz.
Well, I can't explain how great of an opportunity that was to be standing next to everyone with whom I was standing. And I love sharing this. I want our viewers to understand it's okay to talk this way. It's not bragging, it's sharing. And as you get older in life, boy, it's good to share. It's okay to share more. So let's hop into a guy that really helped me much in that particular area, and that was Bud Collins. And
sure,
a couple of months ago or a month ago, we did a piece on the colony, and Bud was part of the colony, along with Nick Bollettieri and Jimmy Arias and Carling Bassett's father, John Bassett. But I was driving Bud Collins out to the network was actually called Blab, B-L-A-B TV. It's okay. Bud had some fun poking at that. He said, "You're the best blabber on Blab." I went,
I can only imagine. That's great stuff.
So driving out, Bud, do you ever get a little nervous going on live TV. We're going live. We get there, it's live. And he said, yeah, because it's not nervous. It's eagerness. You're not nervous. You're just eager to show everybody what you have, what you can do. And I cannot tell you how many times I've addressed that to large groups with kids in, with ladies, clinics all over, and they actually come back, the parents. We've been looking for a way for him to have a different attitude about being nervous. That's it. It's not nerves. You're just eager. And Bud couldn't have said it better. Of course, he was the best because every time I introduced him, and it was in the triple figures, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, this Bud's for you, Mr. Bud. And he would be on his best laughing at that every time I said it.
I love that, Koz. Koz, that's great stuff. It's
ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, this Bud's for you.
Well, in terms of sharing, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about your incredible achievements. Really, I'm gonna focus on the 2024 USPTA, which is now the RSPA Florida Hall of Fame induction. I've had a chance to watch that. I encourage anybody to watch it. It's actually somewhat emotional to watch that because your wife Carolyn says incredibly wonderful things about you. Your daughters Carolyn, Virginia, and Kimberly share in the joy with you, and Davidson, the head coach of Drake, your son, actually gives the induction speech. But what comes across is not my dad was a great tennis player, but he's a great dad. He cared about us. Some of my best times were being on the court with him. And I think it might have been Kimberly who said many people would fear having their dad as a coach. It was the greatest thing. I can't imagine you kind of absorbing that and actually seeing it. It was so emotional for me knowing you. So I got to ask you, how did you get through that? And what incredible blessing it was to hear that and have your family share that with you, right?
Oh, it certainly was. And to have my son take the lead was very impressive because it's kind of tough sometimes. I'm a man, he's a man. We're in tennis. I'm in there first. I have achieved a few things. So he's always kind of following. And he's worked hard at getting on his own, making things happen. And he did a superb job on that. And I always love to look back on what pros were with me when we all started together. I happen to have the title of director of tennis. They didn't, but they were all equal. And these guys have gone into some high level. One, David Marshall, is on the tour coaching pro men's and women's doubles. I have Nate Griffin, who is in the world of tennis construction, media himself. Sure. And I've never had a disappointing assistant with me. It just wasn't that I had somebody and got rid of, but I'm very proud of the way they have taken a hold of the industry also.
No, that's great. And you see a lot of times the measure of a great, let's say, NFL coaches, how many of his assistant coaches have become successful head coaches. So it's interesting, Koz, that you're kind of looking at how many coaches you, let's say, influenced who became successful. And I did enjoy some of those recollections about Koz gave me the chance I needed. And wow, that must be just so gratifying, Koz.
I wrote some good scripts.
For them to, I like that, Koz. Well,
they feel very,
In a somewhat more somber approach, I have to start by saying you have been an amazing contributor to Florida Tennis Magazine, incredible articles, so generous, incredible interviews. One of the toughest calls that I had to make was in December, around December 30th, 2023, when Jim Marts passed away. And here's that the tribute issue to this great man, my mentor. You guys were close. You guys were close. And in terms of the man, I mean, Jim Marts, nobody ever said a bad word about Jim Marts, and he lived for the love of the game. And I feel that same way with you, but I wanted to give you a little bit of an opportunity to please tell us what it was like, how you got to know Jim, and what it was like working with him, and just how special he was to you and to the world.
Well, certainly. On a softer note, Jim and I shared one thing that no one else shared. We both ran the bases at where Field of Dreams.
Oh, that's right. Of course. You told me. Yeah. Yes.
And that was the beginning. We shared in Iowa Bond, and we shared at the high level, working with not always the best big name when you're at the U.S. Open. You want to take care of your Florida players. Then go back and see if you could pick up Novak or
sure
Coco, but take care of the players that have made their mark out of Florida tennis itself. So we shared that. We liked grammar, so we would talk about what kind of grammar is out there these days and how they're getting away with it. And the mere thought that that's not going to get better because fewer people are caring about it. But we did, and it was nice being on the media side, and he was on the hard copy. And then I got into writing for him. It was a very, very nice gesture on his part to give me a contributing status. And this is where I would use my oldest daughter, Kimberly, because my grammar's better than hers, but she's read millions of books and
sure
is a specialist in kids learning English and grammar. So we shared that, Jim and I did. And I remember the night he called me and he went through the description of what he was going through. He explained that he started walking, but then he fell down. He couldn't quite get up. He didn't quite have the best of swallow. What does he do? Do I call an ambulance? Do I try to get into the car? Do I call 911? He calls 911, arrives at the hospital, and the review that they gave him was absolutely very positive.
Correct.
In the high percentage of recovery from what he was experiencing. So none of us knew within 7 to 10 days he wasn't on the calendar any longer.
Brutal.
It was brutal. And let me take a moment to share with our audience what you put into that celebration day. It was just more than a gathering. It was moment by moment, feel by feel, cheer by cheer. And for those that wanted to make some healthy, light remarks on Jim, it all blended in together. And Jim's nephew couldn't have said it with more heart.
AJ.
Yes. And Matt, just coming into Florida tennis.
Yeah, Matt Pressman. Yeah.
Pressman. Yeah, I got him though. I said, Pressman, that means you have to wear a hat when you go out to do interviews, your Pressman hat. But he laughed enough that we kept it in the article. So Jim was a saint, absolutely saint. Did he miss out on fun? No way. He was part of fun. They took such a high respect for doing. He had a strong commitment to excellence, and that could be writing for the newspaper. It certainly could be for writing for the University of Miami and doing his tennis column. So one beautiful person and someone that you could trust and never feel, well, Jim's not going to really do that. You know that he is. Jim, we love you forever.
Well said, Koz. I can't say it any better, but he is I'm truly missed. And I know you guys were very, very, very tight. And going further down memory lane now, Koz.
A bit, but I'll tell you,
please.
He knew how to make me feel good because I would give him the final draft. Jim, do whatever you need to do. Truncated, add something here. And it would always come back. I can't do anything better. It's good to go. Can you imagine what that feels like? He could have done some stuff to beef it up, but he wanted you to feel this is good. And he made me feel that way.
I had that experience too. I had some doubts about some of the stuff I submitted, and it always came back, great job. I can't change this. I wouldn't change a word. And I kind of felt he could have, but he was like, you know what? I'm going to give this, I'll make him feel good. It's good. So very, very special.
Well, I think we have to have a special reward, the kindness award.
Yes.
And let's put that together where you don't have to beat up people when you're interviewing. You can make them look good so everybody feels good about this guy and you looking good as you interviewing.
Right.
Let's go with the Jim Marts Kindness Award, Media Kindness Award.
I will tell you, so Koz, you're ahead of your time. So couple of things. I am proud that the USTA Florida has named the Media Excellence Award, the Jim Marts Media Excellence Award. But at the Miami Open, I have to share, they did a Media Excellence Award, but it was really about kindness. I was, I won the first one, and I always tell people I truly believe I won this award because I gave a lot of pastries to a lot of the people voting on the award. And I want to recommend this to anyone. If you're looking for an award, pastries do not hurt. But in all seriousness, it's a tremendous honor to have a plaque on that desk in the media room with Jim's face and then my name right below that. It's great, but just a generic Jim Marts Media Kindness Award would be incredible.
That would work out. That would fit in. And,
go ahead, Koz.
Well, I'm just going to say it might soften up a few hardball players to where they'll get more interviews when you're a little kinder to the guy you're interviewing or woman.
Yeah, there's no question that I'm not really sure what's motivating some of the questions I'm seeing. I cover closely the Delray Beach Open and the Miami Open. Those are my two primary. I'm asking questions, and I sometimes shake my head at some of the questions that are being asked, and think that's not going to help any of us, and it's not. I'm being careful. I don't write for the fill in the blank. Florida Tennis is a positive magazine.
Yes, yes.
So I'm throwing the fun, good questions, at them, and I get a nice interaction usually with the player. I'm very conscious of that. I've had some
professionally done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now,
the gentleman comes out in your interview.
Thank you, Koz. Thank you. And well, I had great mentors. I got you, I got Jim, so I'm learning from the best. But as we go back down memory lane with Florida tennis specifically, there's Art Seitz was a tremendous, and continues to be a tremendous contributor. Award-winning.
The best. You know that he was WTA Photographer of the Year. He also was at every Super Bowl game, sending his stuff back to friends that, oh my gosh, this is a Christmas present coming in.
It's extraordinary. I know you're on the email list. I'm on the email list. The images that he sends on a regular basis, whether it's Bjorn Borg with an ice block on his back, or Bud Collins and Chris Evert at the French Open with baguettes, hats. He wasn't, and he's still around, thank God. But he wasn't about just getting the shot of a player. He was about the personality of the player, and he's so got a little bit of a tough rap because he took his job very seriously and wanted everyone. He wanted to get the right shot with the right people at the right time. And I think you said it to me recently that some of the people who may have given him a hard time are truly grateful for the body of work that came out of that hard time, to the extent that Chris Evert recently visited Art when he wasn't feeling well, which speaks very well of her and very well of him also.
Yes, yes. No, Art called me when he first knew I was out with Monica, and that's where our relationship began. But then every time I would see him at an event, especially at the U.S. Open, here, let me show you something I just been trying. There's a puddle, not a pond, a puddle. Stand over here, and I'm going to shoot it reflecting off the puddle into your face. And he would take so much joy in coming up with innovative shots.
Yeah, and I have to also talk about, you've covered junior tennis extensively, and I'm going to have 3 questions about that. But first of all, not only was Jim very friendly with you, but he was very, very friendly with Bobby Curtis, the king of junior tennis. So can you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about the legendary Bobby Curtis?
Certainly can, because Bobby was a grandfather to every kid that played junior tennis in Florida. And Bobby would be manning the phone as calls are coming in, questions, what's the weather like? Where do I play? What station or what center am I playing? You know how Bobby would answer the phone religiously? What age group? So he would get right to it. Girls 12s, the next phone. What age group? He worked forever. You think I made that one up? There's no,
not at all. I'm laughing only in the sense that we now have kind of an electronic tournament desk where people are using their phones, but it's not as good as Bobby Curtis screaming into the phone.
No,
right? Yeah, I mean, you gotta love that. Those were the days, Koz.
Well, I had a treat that everybody hasn't had. Doug Booth was
sure. I know Doug.
USTA, of course.
USTA Florida Executive Director.
Executive Director.
Yes, sir.
He asked me, and it was a real honor because we had just moved into Florida. He knew my son. He said, would you coach the boys 14 and under Florida team? And of course, well, all of a sudden I understand that Wayne Bryan's in there from from Southern California. So we tried to do everything as regimented as we could. He's out there laughing and screaming and throwing things around. We play them, and we tied it, but they pulled out the tie break. But the story is I was with Bobby for 7 days straight.
Oh, my goodness. What was that like, Cuz?
Everybody wanted to know. He was full of stories and with good humor, and he had his own way of doing it.
Sure.
It was so nice to see that he was in the Black Tennis Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yes. He was part of the celebration with American Tennis Association.
Yes, sir.
Centennial, along with Nick
Bollettieri. Yeah.
So, and the women loved Bobby, and he would dance on that dance floor, just being himself. But what an open guy. He didn't hold back on one thing.
No, he was a genuine guy. I remember I had the privilege of driving Bobby around a few times, and he was a navigator like no other, because he would tell you, you see that, I don't know, that house that used to be the mayor used to live there, and you see that tree. I mean, it was just like it was the world and the history according to Bobby. And he had stories about Jimmy the Greek. I mean, it was, and stories about his incredible softball career. As small as he was fast. He could bunt. So, but yeah, it was a joy to get to know Bobby. And but getting back to a little bit more of the juniors, you have become very tight with the Little Mo tournament and have developed a special relationship with Maureen Connolly's children who run the event. And I've seen and
Brenda,
Cindy and Brenda Brinker, and I've seen the love between all of you. And then Carol Wayman is in there too, and gave you a hug so tight that you actually went, ow, it was like, I don't know, it was audible, but my God.
Carol was involved with the WTA before picking up with the Little Mo Foundation. And she was doing something with the men's side of before ATP. What was that circuit? What was that pro event that they had out there?
I'm sorry, cuz the men's side before the ATP.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up because
there was such an alphabet soup, cuz of different things out there. And we'll I'm sure somebody's Googling. We'll be Googling that right away. But for me, the appreciation that they have for you covering the event, and I loved listening to you get the history of Little Mo, and the fact that her greatness was probably 52, 53, 1952, 53, 54. She's a teenager, but she was always wife first, mother, champion, and she passed when they were 10 and 12 respectively. And to see how successful they were, one of them was in the Little Mo movie. I was so moved by, and that's what you do, Kaz. You don't just go out and talk about tennis. You talk about relationships and family. It's really, if people open up to you, it was really something to see.
Well, that's what's important. And it needs to be important to yourself to make it important for them.
And that tournament is so significant that her children have carried that on, and which leads me obviously to my next, not obviously, but into my next question, which is,
question. You know what Mo coins are? Mo coins.
Mo coins.
Yeah, I'll get one here for you.
Are they from the different nations and the kids collect them and trade them? Is that what those are?
No. Whoops. Are you seeing?
You got to raise it up there, Kaz.
Okay. Low,
A little higher, Cos, the coin.
a little higher.
The coin, yeah, a little bit higher.
All right.
All right, Mo coins. Yeah, I see it.
Good. So during the day of their match, the umpires watch them play. And when they react to an opponent's good shot that he hit a winner, the other player says good shots, or they're crossing together, but one will bump into the other, one pulls away. Those kids love these coins because not only are they learning sportsmanship and kindness, the two categories are sportsmanship and another award for kindness. One boy for each event, so there are 4 of them. But these coins just unite nations together. So we have 40 countries there. They're exchanging coins and they shop together. They pick out prizes together, and the coins make it happen. I tried to find a way. How about if you get involved with who's the big coffee?
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Let's make Little Mo Starbucks coins, and the mommies get these to take in the city where the Little Mo is that week.
I was going to say the moms because I was these kids hopped up on coffee because I had a whole different. They're flying around the courts.